Hello. Today I'm going to tell you about our paper round that Tom and I did. When we'd been living in France for about 3 years, we'd been doing work looking after Agit. Then we got offered, someone approached us and said, would we like to take over their job, which was a paper round. And this guy had been doing it for about 6 years. He'd actually set it up. He'd made all the connections with people and gone round, knocked on doors, said, do you want a paper delivered? And it wasn't like any normal paper round. It was 80 kilometres. It covered the area of La Salvetat-Perales, which is where we live. But that area is actually quite big, and it included all the little hamlets and villages round about. And the funny thing was, Tom and I had just been having a conversation the week before, and we'd been saying, it'd be good to see more of the surrounding area and actually visit some of these little villages and hamlets, and we should maybe go out on our bikes or go for a little drive and actually see them. And we'd made this decision to do that, the odd day a week, just to go and see a different place. And then we got this offer the week after, which actually meant we could visit all these places every day. So it was 80 kilometres. We started really early in the morning. I usually got up about 5. We had to be up at the main town, Riparu, for 6 in the morning to meet this guy called Aurelian, and he was the one that came with the van and dropped off all the papers. So we picked the papers up from him, put them in the back of our little car, and then set off on this 80-kilometre route, which was quite an interesting route, actually. It was one of those jobs, it's a nice job to do, but it was also not the sort of job many people wanted to do, which is really why English people ended up doing it, because really none of the French people wanted to do that job. It wasn't particularly well paid, but for us it was good because it was a reliable income. It meant every month we got paid something. It was usually around, say, 800 euros a month, something like that. And we worked really 3 hours every morning. And it was every morning, except one day of the year, the 1st of May. That was the only day we had off. So it was Christmas Day, it was New Year's Day, every single day. Sundays were different. We didn't have to, we worked on Sundays, and we only delivered the papers around our little village. So it was very easy on a Sunday. It didn't take as long at all, maybe half an hour, something like that. But the rest of the time, it took us depending how fast we were. Tom was a bit faster than me. It took around 2.5 to 3 hours every morning. So you were home by 8:30, 9 o'clock, which was great because then you had the rest of the day. But it did mean you were going to bed early so that you could get up and do it. Because there were 2 of us, we shared it. So say I can't remember which days I did now, but say I did half the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tom would do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then we'd share the Sundays, we'd just alternate with them. So that worked out well. It was a difficult job to learn to start with because you had all these post boxes. In France, they just have little boxes at the end of their gardens and all over the place. So the first job was really actually locating where the boxes were. Often you couldn't see them. Most of them didn't have the name of the person on. So first job was to learn where the boxes actually were. And then the next job was like which paper to put in the box. We had about 4 different papers that we delivered, but 2 main ones that most people had, one or the other. Yeah, so you just had to remember then that paper goes in that box. So it probably only took a week really to learn it, and then you got faster. The first day we were very slow, and that was difficult. After that, we soon got the hang of it. And we had lots of adventures, mainly due to the car or the weather conditions, because, we were having to go up and down. Here it's very hilly in places. And so if it was snowy or icy, it was quite a tricky journey at times. The weather conditions was one thing. The other thing was the car itself, because we had very old cars and they often broke down or something was wrong with them. And this journey was actually quite challenging for an old car because it was every day doing this up and down, stopping, starting, lots of turning and slow movements. So that was a challenge, the car. One morning I went off the road into a ditch. It was just very wet and I was just coming down this hill. Another car was coming up. The roads are quite narrow here with big ditches at the side. And I just pulled over too far and lost it, and the car just went quite slowly into this ditch. So all the papers slid off because we had a special table. Tom developed this special table that would fit on the seat at the side, so you could pile all the papers up in order and know which ones you were doing, that kind of thing. And everything slid. This car was just full of newspapers all over. Then I rang Tom, And he got hold of some good friends of ours who came with their car and towed us out, told me out. And then I could continue the paper round. Well, me and Tom continued together that day. And I had lots of times when the brakes would fail or the gears would pack up or whatever. So the car itself was quite a major challenge for me. But it was a lovely thing. It helped us to get to know lots of people. It really helped us be placed, I think, in this village. As far as like people knew us, even if we didn't know them, they knew us as, oh, that's the couple, Anne and Tom, that do the paper round. So it suddenly transformed things and we felt like we belonged more, I think. There were a lot of people you could say hello to, even if you didn't really know their names. They recognise you, we recognise them. We got to know lots of lovely animals as well, loads of dogs and cats and things that are around first thing in the morning. And just being around that early, especially in summer, was the most lovely thing. It's a lovely experience to just drive around the French countryside, seeing all the gardens. You'd see old people working on their vegetable plots at sort of 7 in the morning, and you realise how they lived, and it felt special. It was really nice, and we did that together, me and Tom, for 2 years. And then I did a further year with some friends. I shared it with some other friends, sort of passed it on to them. And then now, since then, a French guy, he took it on. So I had to show him the route and everything, which he picked up so fast because he knew this area, he knew all the people, so that was easy. And so he stopped doing it now. Someone else is doing it now. But yeah, it was a great job for us in many ways, more than just having the money. I think it really helped us to fit in here. Yeah, we had a role within this community. It was only a small one, but it did help. It was enjoyable. Anyway, I wrote a poem about the paper round, which I'll share with you. Since it's about the paper round, it might give you some of the flavour of it. I can't say it's a good poem, but it sort of describes some of my feelings of it and some of the things. First verse is more about when I was young, and the last thing I wanted to do in the world was a paper round. My brother and sister both did paper rounds, and as a young teenager I had no desire to work whatsoever, which probably says a lot about why I've come to France and I have quite a simple life. Actually means I have to work less, which I like. So when I was young, I certainly didn't want a paper round. I was into lots of other things, and this is sort of describing my 13-year-old self, really, and then it goes on to the paper round in France. So I'll just read it to you, share this with you. It's called the paper round. 13. That foggy place between adult and child. Contradictions running wild. Building model planes and sailing boats. Wearing black strappy sandals and velvet coats. Colouring books and bridal dolls. Sneaky fags in shopping malls. My child-adult mind twists and spins, a floundering kite on tangled strings, knowing and not intertwined, looping the loop, soaring high, skybound decisions that help me fly, absolutely certain as I touch the ground that I never want to do a paper round. 40 years pass. Duvet cosy feet meet the cool wood floor, shivering body wrapped in woolly warm layers, muesli munched, hunched in the heater's glow, emerging from home cocoon to a vast skyscape of stars and luminous moon. Blowers blowing, slow thawing the frost-encrusted car. Still slumbering fields where bright-eyed cats crouch in glistening white grass. Newspapers duly collected from the man of few words. Bonjour, bonjour, au revoir, au revoir. Our morning ritual perfectly performed, my moving meditation begins, remaining in the present, the now of papers and news delivery. Mother of all bombs dropped on Afghanistan. Grandmother spider abseils a frost-furred web, while headlines invade her mailbox home. Sparrows transfixed to roads in zen-like trances fly skywards, awakened by full beams. Slender deer appear, spirits between trees, before fading back into misty dawn. Grey shaggy dog slinks from his barn, performing yoga stretches as he greets the light. Terrorist kills pedestrians on Westminster Bridge. Car wheels turn as burnished clouds cover the horizon. A sanguine sun rises to my left, and my companion moon sinks gracefully out of sight. I imagine my arms stretched wide, holding sun and moon, a balance scale of energy and calm. Small farmers sued to protect patented seed. Hustling bees jostle over silky red, crinkle-fresh poppies. Purple blossom-scented air wraps around ancient people, tending shades of greens for future transformation. Soups and stews covered with lively conversation. Contradictions in this world abound, including my 53-year-old self enjoying this paper round. So I hope that gives a bit of the flavour of it. And it was this idea of these headlines. I was constantly delivering these newspapers with all these headlines, not necessarily those ones in the poem, but similar ones. And it was just something about the contradiction between pushing this news into all these letterboxes and knowing some of the people and thinking everyone's going to pick this up and this is what they're going to read. This is the start of their day. I wasn't liking that much, but that mixed with what was going on in nature and around was just such a contrast to me. Yeah, and also the contrast between me careering around with this car at times, trying to get people to get their news on time, because people do like it nice and early, and they obviously have their routines and they're used to when the paper arrives. So there's that, and then I'd get out and it was just some of the scenes were just so peaceful and beautiful. So I thought I'd share that bit of France, another one of our jobs. It was a good experience, but we were both glad, really, when we didn't have to keep getting up. One of us always getting up so early, so that it was nice to end as well. We did occasionally cover for other people, for holiday cover. We did a bit of that, but I think that's stopped now, so which I'm quite glad of. So have a good week. See you soon. Bye.